Welcome to Uncanny X-Minutes, where we bring you the comics behind the movies. I'm Stasia.
Producer James.
And we're here to talk about X-Men Origins Wolverine, minutes 100 to 107, because we're right at the end.
We are at the end. Would you like to know what happens at the end?
Yes, please.
There's 21 seconds of film left, and it's mostly Wolverine walking away from Silver Fox with just a shot just rising into the sky, so you can see the whole island. Mm-hmm. And then credits. Mm-hmm. A lot of credits. Post-credit number 1 scene is Stryker still walking.
Yeah.
With bloody feet. More credits. And then Deadpool in rubble, and his eyes open, and he goes, shh. That's it.
Yep, that's it.
End of movie.
End.
So we're doing it.
God. Yeah.
You're Wolverined out.
I am, which is not good news.
No, well, I'm. We'll see how the Wolverine goes.
Which is one of the few that I have not seen. So that one at least will be fresh. Like,
yeah,
I've seen this movie before. I've seen this movie more than once before. Yeah. So this time, I think with the next movie, at least it'll be like, I've never seen the Merc storyline really adapted, because I never watched that movie, and it's the only movie that really does it. So like, and
I haven't read the storyline with Miracle in the comics, so we're gonna be both discovering.
That'll be fun. Yeah. So I'm really curious on how they're going to make that, because that movie did okay. People thought it was good, right?
It's generally regarded as one of the better movies.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see.
You sound dubious.
Well, I am dubious.
Well, today we're going to talk about that second post-credit scene, kind of.
Yes.
So he is decapitated in the fight scene. So in this scene, it is just a Deadpool head. Yeah,
but there's like a lot of rubble, because it's movie magic.
Yes, but you see his arm moving. Like he's going to put himself together is the idea, even though that comes to nothing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
This guy goes away.
Kind
of. But it did remind me of Headpool.
Yes.
Which is going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine whenever we get to that one, because at the point of this recording, it is the most recent movie.
Yeah.
But there's so much going in that scene that we can save it for now.
We don't
need to rush.
Yeah, we have to talk about Headpool here, because we're not going to have time to talk about Headpool when we get to there. There's too many other Deadpools to talk about.
It's true. So, Headpool is a part of the Marvel Zombies universe.
Distinct from other. What's the do you know what the actual number is?
I do. It's 2149.
2149. Okay.
So he is the Deadpool from 2149. So he is not actually referred to as Headpool till actually quite later.
Okay.
Because at first he's just zombie Deadpool. Because he gets introduced in Marvel Zombies. Actual, I guess, introduced is a loose term. He is in the first Marvel Zombies run, number 3. He's mostly a background character. Just it focuses more on like the more A-list characters becoming zombies.
Sure.
These zombies are fast. These zombies still have their powers. These zombies talk.
Okay. I see.
Because I assume you have not read.
Absolutely not.
I feel like, one, it's not an X-Men title.
Nope.
And 2, I don't think you care for zombies that much.
No, I don't.
I know your number.
It's 100%. I'm so glad that you had read these and you knew what was up, because I would not even know where to start with these. These are so out of my wheelhouse. I haven't even watched the what ifs with the zombies.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I think the comics are more interesting. The first run is written by Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame. Also, before he went to Image.
He also wrote Invincible, right?
Yes.
Yes, I love that.
So he knows
comic.
Zombies, he knows superheroes.
Yeah.
So the first one's interesting because it is about them. It follows the zombies. They are the main character and their insatiable hunger. The Marvel Zombies universe was actually introduced in an Ultimate Fantastic Four storyline.
Oh, it's always the Ultimates universe.
But it was in a universe jumping situation. Sure. So it's just more like it was a peek into it, and then they walked away from it. Then they made the miniseries.
Of course.
The miniseries, it does follow like a handful of the A-list superheroes as their zombies. And it ends with them, with Galactus showing up on Earth, and then they eat Galactus.
Oh.
And get the power cosmic on top of being zombies.
Horrible.
And so then they go into the galaxy to spread the zombie virus on other planets.
I assume they are successful.
That's where Marvel Zombies 2 comes in, where they've basically eaten in the entire universe.
Okay.
Years have passed.
Okay.
They come back to Earth. Then we do get a small enclave of like human survivors led by an aged Black Panther.
Oh, interesting.
Right? That one ends with them finding a portal and then question mark. Like now we're reality hopping.
Ah.
Which leads us to Marvel Zombies 3, where Deadpool actually shows up in the first issue.
Okay.
So Marvel Zombies 3, they end up invading the 616. So we've actually crossed over. That's where they show up.
I see.
This one follows more Machine Man and Jocasta, which are both robots, and I won't go further into them because they are very much not X-Men related. Deadpool shows up in the first issue and gets chopped up by helicopter blades.
Okay.
And then in 4, he shows up as a head. Just a head. And 4 is the one that he actually is more like a main character of. Mm-hmm. Okay. So in the 4th one, we jump over to the Midnight Suns. The lineup is Morbius, Werewolf by Night, Damon Hellstrom, Man-Thing, and Jennifer Kale. That last one may not sound familiar, but kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Because she's Sashir Zameda's character in Agatha All Along.
Oh, okay.
That's why you may have heard of
it. Yes, I know Jennifer. Yes. Okay.
Right?
100%. Yes.
Also Ghost Rider's cousin.
Right. I actually did know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she's in that run.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yes. No, don't pretend like I'm going to read this. Go on.
No. I doubt you'll read this.
No, I'm telling myself because I love her, but I'm like, there's no way.
She is interesting in this, but like not enough that I would read because she's not the same character.
Right.
They are tasked with preventing a full-on zombie outbreak with the 616, and it's mostly around the head of Deadpool as a zombie and a character in the Marvel universe called the Zombie.
Okay.
Like the Marvel universe already had its own zombie, but it was like a zombie that was controlled by an amulet sort of situation, more like a supernatural, not a curse that like gets spread like an infection, but more of like a power to be wielded.
Yeah.
Okay. The end of that one, I'm just going to blow through it all. The beginning and ends are kind of what's most important. He ends up in a boat off at sea.
Okay.
They were trying to get him all back in the portal or destroyed, thrown into sea. That's where he is. That's when it actually is important for Deadpool comics, because the next time he shows up is Deadpool Merc with a Mouth is what the run's called. Okay. And it is about Deadpool, 616 Deadpool, being hired by AIM to retrieve a biological weapon from the Savage Land.
Got it.
Because Hydra also trying to find it.
Right.
So he's the only one that can survive. That's what they tell him. Like, oh, the way you got to be shot in, you're the only one that's going to be able to survive it. It's also so dangerous in the Savage Land. We're going to pay you. You're going to do this thing.
It's so fun. Savage Land, sorry, this is a tangent, but the Savage Land and how dangerous the Savage Land is one of the most variable things in X-Men comics, because like you can have it in like in this issue where it's like, we got to send our like top mercenaries to the Savage Land.
Right.
And there are definitely issues where they literally take children from the X-Mansion to visit the Savage Lands on a field trip.
They all have powers. They'll be fine.
That's true.
That's a perfectly fine tirade. So turns out that it's zombie-headed Deadpool or Headpool who is being worshipped by headhunters. Merc with a Mouth starts as he needs to find this weapon. He finds it, and then he's coupled with this scientist named Dr. Betty Swanson. But this is one of those issues that does not, or one of these series that does not age well.
Oh.
She's very much the buxom blonde who's in the Savage Land and is like drawn like a pinup model for most of the issues. That like, when I read it the first time, I was like, well, okay, whatever. It's 09. Like,
yeah.
less of a red flag, but then you read it now and you're like, do we need to do this? Is all this necessary?
I mean, look at a lot of 09 comics anyway. Go on.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, it's basically them being chased by Hydra a lot, and then also it gets to a point that Deadpool does not want to give up Headpool because now he's like, oh, it's a zombie head. Like, this is not safe to use as a biological weapon. Like, that's obviously what they are using it for. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's explicitly what they say they're using it for. So it ends up being a trip of trying to get him back into the zombie universe. Okay.
Yeah, because you can't let him run around.
Exactly. Yada, yada, yada. They try going through the portal. And then they end up dimension hopping for an entire issue. Okay. And that's where when we get to Wolverine and Deadpool, we'll probably come back to this. So we get Lady Deadpool. We get the Deadpool kid. We get Major Deadpool, which is more of a... military guy. And it's just them like jumping from one to one till they get back to the 616, and they're like, well, Dr. Voodoo shows up and goes, well, you both jumped in, that was the problem.
Oh, okay.
I can fix it, and then you can go back to the zombie universe. They go to the zombie universe, so we get sort of this like preview of the Deadpool core that will eventually happen,
right?
But until then, we still have this series. they both start like almost hand in hand. They overlap a little bit, which is weird. If I remember my issue release date, there's one issue where they're like, that will happen soon. Just wait. It'll be it's coming. So they're referring to things that haven't happened yet, like they've already happened. So they knew the story. They just hadn't released them yet. So they get back to the 2149, and they have a whole storyline in that where they're finding more people who actually survived, but then they're trying to get back. But the portal is in Florida.
Okay.
It's in Citrusville.
Don't know what that is, but sure.
And the nexus of all realities.
Oh, of course.
Which is protected by Man-Thing. So there's a Man-Thing in our universe that's trying to protect it, and it ends up Dr. Swanson goes through to not get attacked by Man-Thing, and then not Bob, Agent of Hydra, but Bill, Agent of AIM.
Oh my goodness. Is it basically Bob, Agent of Hydra?
It's basically, but Bob has died at this point.
Okay.
So he's not in the comics anymore, and they even say it in the book. So they have Bill.
Okay.
That is basically running the same, except for he's yellow instead of green. Anyway, a bunch of stuff happens. They end up in this 2149 before Deadpool left. So there's a little bit of time travel in there for no explained reason. They end up meeting up with zombie Deadpool before he goes through. They end up getting his head blown off and then putting Headpool on the body. And
wait, which body?
On the original Deadpool body before the time has changed.
Okay.
And then when that happens, Headpool goes, well, nice to know you, and then jumps through the portal again, only to come back when the original zombie Deadpool went through. And then his head gets chopped off his shoulder, and he's in a time loop.
Oh, okay. So that's how they keep him busy.
Right.
Presumably.
So presumably. It doesn't work.
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
That isn't what happens, because in Prelude to Deadpool Corps, which is another mini before the series The Deadpool Corps, where Deadpool at the end of Merc with a Mouth is approached by another cosmic being called the Contemplator.
I feel like I had a handle on what was happening and what's going on. I'm like, this is not quite X-Men, but it's X-Men adjacent. It's Deadpool. I may not follow that super closely, but I feel like I generally know what's going on in those books. This is like telling me I absolutely have no idea what's going on in Deadpool books. I've never heard of this cosmic entity.
Oh, I doubt. I'm going to do a quick search. I doubt he's in much more than just that set of books.
It's crazy that Deadpool, and I mean, not really, actually. I say it's crazy that Deadpool can pull new cosmic entities, but he is he's not Wolverine, but he's close.
Oh, no, he did not. For me, I was like, oh, he probably showed up in Merc with the Mouth first. No, he's been around since 1976.
Wow.
Not a ton, but he is just like a normal looking, like the Grandmaster, the Collector.
Sure.
It's one of those types of guys.
Yeah.
So he pulls Deadpool from his timeline. It's like, hey man, you're the only one that can save everybody. Obviously, you're Marvel Jesus, basically, before that whole thing happened, but like unironically.
Yeah.
So he's like, you need to go get other versions of you to help out. So we have Prelude to Deadpool Corps, which is each issue is like him recruiting one of the Deadpool Corps for the Deadpool Corps. So in the Headpool issue, he basically recruits him and he doesn't actually end up where he in the Savage Land, basically. Okay. He ends up being picked up by like pirates. So
okay, sure, why not?
But he gets to this island and that's where he ends up getting Headpool ends up getting like the propeller beanie you see, and so the entire up to this point in his reading history, he is being carried the entire time.
Oh, so he's actually not flying on his own. He is
never flying on his own. He is being carried like a football the whole time, which a couple of times leads to him biting things.
That's what I was wondering. Yes. I was like, if he's a zombie.
So you find out in, I think, Marvel Zombies #2, after they had eaten the entire universe, they realized that if a zombie doesn't eat anything for a long period of time, it actually can overcome the hunger.
Okay.
Which Deadpool has because he became a head and then couldn't do anything.
Right.
He also is like, maybe because I don't have most of a body.
Also true.
But he also is constantly being like, I'd like to bite that, please. Thank you. Like, I don't have to, but I'd like to. In when they were jumping universes, Lady Deadpool's fighting like a classic Captain America.
Sure.
And Deadpool throws Headpool at him and bites him in the arm.
Oh.
In order for them to stave off the infection, they chop off Captain America's arm.
Oh, I wonder if that comes back. I don't think I've ever seen.
So, because this is Lady Deadpool's universe. When they recruit her for the Corps, he then has like a Bucky arm.
Oh, that's very cool.
So that's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun.
I like that.
But like, there is a whole plot point in when they're trying to escape the 2149, where one of the AIM operatives that's like following them because their job is to get that head, they tried leaving the rest of them behind, and they're in a helicopter, and then Headpool bites his finger, and they're like, all right, well, you're going to turn into a zombie now, so we have an antidote.
Okay.
So either you can take the antidote and take us with you, or don't and turn into a zombie.
Okay.
They don't give him the antidote. They fake giving him the antidote.
Oh, wow.
But it was all a ploy by Deadpool to find out how long it would take for the zombie virus to take over. And it was like 20 minutes. He's like, all right, so we have 20 minutes. That goes with my plan later.
Oh, my goodness.
So as they're trying to leave the 2149, Deadpool has this Dr. Swanson chop off one of his arms and take a chunk out of the shoulder. Then they sewed Headpool to the shoulder wound and then sewed the arm backwards so that he could fight in two different directions.
Oh, my goodness. That is the most Deadpool thing I've ever heard in my life. Does it work?
Yes. I mean, he's fighting zombie Deadpool and then something else. And so, yeah, it works enough for long enough. And then he takes the antidote, so he doesn't actually turn into a zombie.
What is the Headpool's personality like? Like, is it just Deadpool?
It's
but
pretty
he's
much
just a head?
Deadpool.
Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't
it's
sure if
pretty
there's any
much
distinction.
Except for trying to bite things all the time.
Sure.
He seems a little more evil, but like, he'll work with you. Which is still Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, I get that all the zombies are probably a little bit more evil because they have like one overarching motivating factor. Yeah. So I get that. A couple
X-Men that do show up in the Merc with a mouth run when they get to the 2149 is Iceman.
Okay.
Is trying to eat everyone, and then Cypher shows up.
Oh, really?
They actually capture Cypher to experiment on him so they can get the antidote. They even like applauded him. They're like, way to pick out a superhero that has no combat abilities.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, perfect person to grab.
Yeah, do not be bringing in Wolverine.
Well, he was hanging out with the Absorbing Man and the Armadillo.
Yeah.
No, you should know the Armadillo.
The Armadillo is a little foreign to me, but I think I could put it together.
But Absorbing Man.
I do know Absorbing Man.
Actually, he defeats Absorbing Man. Deadpool defeats Absorbing Man by when he goes to absorb something, throwing a roll of toilet paper. And so he grabs it and turns into just like a bunch of rolls of toilet paper so that he can just chop them up with his samurai
with the sword. Okay. I didn't think it would work that way, but sure. Whatever.
These are all details that I felt did not need to be explained, but here they're coming up naturally, you see.
So much of Deadpool is that, though. Like, because so much ridiculous stuff is happening.
Right.
You got to talk about it.
It's a bit after a bit after a bit.
Yeah.
But then I end up doing the, like, when they come up, they're entertaining. They're entertaining bits.
I think it's really interesting that that Headpool and is still comedic. Like, it makes sense, but like I am kind of surprised. I know Deadpool hasn't always been. I don't want to make it too much of Deadpool because we're gonna save him for later. But like, I know that there were definitely some more serious interpretations of that character before
some
it
runs
went.
Have been even.
Yeah, like hardcore into like fourth wall breaking, She-Hulk style, comedy. And I think that's what sells, but it is interesting that Headpool, I mean, he is kind of goofy until, especially when he puts on the hat that lets him fly around.
It's amazing.
That's pretty funny.
The scientist who created it was like, oh, this is meant to help someone fly, but it only can lift me a couple inches off the ground.
Right.
Since he's only a full grown man can only do a couple inches off the ground. So obviously just a head is no problem.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that why would you even invent this? For this purpose, but still.
Right.
This is also the era of Deadpool that is, he has two separate voices in his head.
Oh,
you know, the two text boxes that have different font.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know they were still doing that at this point.
In 2009, they definitely were.
Okay.
So he has it. Zombie Deadpool has it. Zombie Deadpool's, you know how Deadpool's text boxes are yellow?
Yeah.
Headpool's is pink.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
And both of his boxes are also pink.
Okay.
And Lady Deadpool also has the voices.
Okay. Interesting.
Headpool is now part of the Deadpool core.
Right.
Due to the prelude. The Deadpool core, and we'll get into them later when the Deadpool core show up in the comics.
Yeah.
But in this instance, they're all heroes. Like, they're all supposed to be for heroic means. It's 616 Deadpool, Lady Deadpool, Kid Deadpool, Dogpool, and Headpool.
Okay.
And this is where we actually get the name Headpool.
Oh, okay.
Before that, he was mostly called, 616 Deadpool kept referring to him as Shorty. And that just, doesn't stick.
Yeah, it's not as cute as Headpool.
Or Shorty No Pants, I think.
Shorty, yeah, I don't think that was gonna stick. Headpool makes sense. It's kind of rhyming and it's efficient. You know exactly which Deadpool I'm talking about. He is probably one of the more distinctive ones for sure of all the Deadpools.
Yes, all the Deadpool variants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before Deadpool and Wolverine came out, when I had scheduled, when I did my preliminary everything, I did this so far ahead, mind you, because that movie's now been out for a while.
Yeah.
I had Deadpool variants as a topic because
right.
I was ready to do this, but go more into all the different variants that have shown up in the different comics. And then I'm in the theater. That scene pops up and I was like, well, I guess there goes. I guess I have to hold back on that one.
Yeah, there's a little bit more in that movie than there is this one.
There's so many more. And the funny thing is I've actually read a fair amount of the variants before.
Right.
So I'm sitting there going, oh no, I know who a lot of these are.
I do think it's kind of interesting because the tone for this movie, for Origins, is not a Deadpool tone.
No.
Which is why they kind of ruined that character because they couldn't match the tone with the movie they wanted.
I do think the opening scene, back when we still liked the movie, early in the movie.
I mean, no, it was almost 50%.
It was good. That Wade was a good early Wade.
Yes.
He did have the jokes. He was trying to be jovial. He just was in a setting where it wasn't appropriate.
Right.
And I think there are settings that you do put Deadpool in where he's not the main focus, where people are like, geez, man, you need to shut your mouth.
Yeah.
That is the vibe he gets sometimes. Then they didn't stick it.
Yeah.
You can't then literally shut him up. That's not fun.
Yeah.
He would have been way more menacing if he's still doing the jokes and he's almost brain dead, he's not quite know what he's talking about. I don't know. There's something you could have
There's something there, yeah, that they just chose not to. I also think it's really interesting that they chose. I mean, I know it's a post-credit scene,
yeah,
but the concept of including Headpool, now that we've like gone through the comics and we've like kind of looked at the tone, that also doesn't match the movie.
No, I mean, he's not supposed to be Headpool. I think he's supposed to pull himself
you
together.
Think he's going to pull himself together?
I think they were going to bring him back maybe more realistic. I don't know. He's got katana in his arms. That's kind of a hard one to come back from. I don't know what their plan was after that.
Yeah, because like
it wasn't Headpool for sure. I mean, let's be honest. This is in an era where they're still not quite committing to the comic book aspect of everything.
Sure.
They're trying to keep it a little more realistic. Deadpool doesn't really fit in realistic well.
No, I
Wade Wilson does.
Think so.
Like the beginning of Deadpool, the first movie, his seriousness works. When like the beginning of his story, I should say, not the movie, because he's still Deadpool in the beginning of the movie. But like Wade Wilson works. Deadpool does not work like that. You should have done someone else.
Yeah, as like the villain of this movie. Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, there are other characters that have multiple powers in them.
Yeah,
and it's like, why wouldn't you pick one of them?
Yeah,
you know,
or even just like, I mean, this might be a lot, but like so much of this movie was about like his relationships and like, I don't actually, this doesn't work out timeline wise, but if you were going to steal powers from somebody, you could have just made Daken.
You could have.
If you want to have a claw on claw fight, like at the end of this movie, you could pull out some kid of Wolverine, which we're going to get to in the other X-Men movies.
Yeah, right.
But
I'm trying to see when Daken was created, though.
He comes. He's with. He comes with the horrible Wolfman. He is one of that. He is the one good thing that comes out of Romulus.
Out of Romulus. First full appearance was 2007.
Oh, so yeah, too late. Right? When did Origins come out?
Origins came out 2009. So I mean, that's real fresh.
Real fresh. Yeah.
You have to really commit to doing Daken right away.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that close. Daken is so new, but in my head he's so established.
I mean, I'd even go so far as to say this doesn't stick with a serious tone, but instead of, I mean, they're trying to do the Weapon X story. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah. They're doing such an early story. It doesn't leave much.
I mean, maybe you could use one of the Weapon Plus or something, but I was almost going to say Sinister because he's at least playing with things. Sinister could have been his, like if you wanted to switch out Stryker with Sinister, it wouldn't have been. But the problem is they set up Stryker as the main Weapon X villain in 2.
Right.
So you can't really, you kind of have to use Stryker.
Yeah, you could have done something.
Unless Stryker was Sinister.
Dun, dun, dun. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time.
It's not out of the ordinary.
This would explain a lot why Stryker looks different across movies.
I almost spit out my drink with that one.
I'm
wrong.
I'm no prizing over here. I'm making it work.
I think that's a good one. It was just Sinister all along.
Sinister all along. My favorite. Oh, love Sinister.
We're never going to go to Sinister, are we?
No, never. I don't think so.
That's what X-Men 97's for.
Yes. X-Men 97. Also, Sinister might show up if he's going to. He's a Deadpool person. I could see him show up in a Deadpool movie.
Well, I mean, the X-Men, if we want to go a little bit into the new news, like they are starting to work X-Men into the MCU soon. I
don't know any of this. I distinctly try to keep away.
So the basic, I mean, there's no details. It's just the fact that they are starting to pre-production X-Men, but like MCU X-Men.
I'm very curious on how that's going to play out.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will. We shall.
I think that wraps up X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, and I can't believe we finished this movie. What's the next movie, James?
Oh, the next movie is going to be X-Men First Class.
Oh, man.
I think you have a lot more to say in that one.
I'm very excited to talk about Darwin and the travesties that happened to that character.
Oh, the travesties of Darwin.
Yes. All right. Well,
and Emma Frost.
Yeah. There's a lot of travesties sometimes in these movies. Emma Frost. Okay. We got to save that.
No, save it. Save it.
We're just calling it. Yep. Just a tease. We'll talk to you next time.
We're done with Wolverine right now. He's not even in the next. He's barely in the next one.
It's going to be crazy to do one of these movies without Wolverine. So
because buckle up, he's in the next two pretty predominantly.
Yeah. Well, in any case, I'm Stasia.
I'm producer James.
And we'll see you for the next 10.